She had such a magnetism that if 15 men were in a room with her, each man would be convinced he was the one she'd be waiting for after the others left. She's scared and unsure of herself. I found myself wishing that I were a psychoanalyst and she were my patient. It might be that I couldn't have helped her, but she would have looked lovely on the couch. When you look at Marilyn on the screen, you don't want anything bad to happen to her. You really care that she should be alright, happy. I know people who say Hollywood broke her heart, and all that, but I don't believe it. She was very observant and tough-minded and appealing, but she adored and trusted the wrong people. She was very courageous. You know the book 12 Against the Gods? Marilyn was like that. She had to challenge the gods at every turn. She went right down into her own personal experience for everything, reached down and pulled something out of herself that was unique and extraordinary. She had no techniques. It was all the truth, it was only Marilyn. But it was Marilyn, plus she found things about womankind in herself. Marilyn is a kind of ultimate. She is uniquely feminine. Everything she does is different, strange, and exciting, from the way she talks to the way she uses that magnificent torso. She makes a man proud to be a man. She listens, wants, cares. I catch her laughing across a room and I bust up. Every pore of that lovely translucent skin is alive, open every moment, even though this world could make her vulnerable to being hurt. I would rather work with her than any other actress. I adore her. The last time I saw Marilyn was in late 1959, when I appeared in Let's Make Love at Fox. The wide-eyed Marilyn I had first known was gone. This Marilyn was more beautiful than ever. Marilyn always dreamt of being an actress. She didn't, by the way, dream of being just a star. She dreamt of being an actress. And she had always lived somehow with that dream. And that is why, despite the fact that she became one of the most unusual and outstanding stars of all time, she herself was never satisfied. When she came to New York, she began to perceive the possibilities of really accomplishing her dream, of being an actress. They've tried to manufacture other Marilyn Monroes and they will undoubtedly keep trying. But it won't work. She was an original. She had flesh which photographed like flesh. You feel you can reach out and touch it. Unique is an overworked word, but in her case it applies. There will never be another one like her, and Lord knows there have been plenty of imitations. She was an absolute genius as a comedic actress, with an extraordinary sense for comedic dialogue. It was a God-given gift. Believe me, in the last 15 years there were 10 projects that came to me, and I'd start working on them and I'd think, it's not going to work, it needs Marilyn Monroe. Nobody else is in that orbit, everyone else is earthbound by comparison. Her beauty and humanity shine through. She is the kind of artist one does not come on every day in the week. After all, she was created something extraordinary. I've learned about living from her. I took her as a serious actress even before I met her. I think she's an adroit comedian, but I also think she might turn into the greatest tragic actress that can be imagined. Her work frightened her, and although she had undoubted talent, I think she had a subconscious resistance to the exercise of being an actress. But she was intrigued by its mystique and happy as a child when being photographed. She managed all the business of stardom with uncanny, clever, apparent ease. Marilyn is as near genius as any actress I ever knew. She is an artist beyond artistry. She is the most completely realized and authentic film actress since Garbo. She has that same unfathomable mysteriousness. She is pure cinema. She was wonderful. We were taught never to clap at the actor's studio. It was like we were in church, and it was the first time I'd ever heard applause there. I saw that what she looked like was not what she really was, and what was going on inside her was not what was going on outside, and that always means there may be something to work with. In Marilyn's case, the reactions were phenomenal. She can call up emotionally what is required for a scene. Her range is infinite. She saw herself drowning in Hollywood in 1955 and told her studio, "I'm not just twiddling my behind." Marilyn is not any one thing, she's multidimensional. As an actress, she has lots of imitators, but only Marilyn survives. It's a toss-up whether the scenery or the adornment of Marilyn Monroe is the feature of greater attraction in River of No Return. The mountainous scenery is spectacular, but so in her own way is Miss Monroe. I did Niagara with her. I found her marvelous to work with and terrifically ambitious to do better. And bright. She may not have had an education, but she was just naturally bright. Marilyn was one step from oblivion when I directed her in The Asphalt Jungle. I remember she impressed me more off the screen than on. There was something touching and appealing about her. This girl had something I hadn't seen since silent pictures. She had a kind of fantastic beauty like Gloria Swanson, and she radiated sex like Jean Harlow. She didn't need a soundtrack to tell her story. With fame, you can read about yourself, somebody else's ideas about you, but what's important is how you feel about yourself for survival and living day to day with what comes up. I knew I belonged to the public and to the world, not because I was talented or even beautiful, but because I had never belonged to anything or anyone else. It stirs up envy, fame does. People feel fame gives them some kind of privilege to walk up to you and say anything to you, and it won't hurt your feelings like it's happening to your clothing. Everybody is always tugging at you. They'd all like a sort of chunk out of you. I don't think they realize it, but it's like grrr do this, grrr do that. But you do want to stay intact and on 2 feet. I am invariably late for appointments, sometimes as much as 2 hours. I've tried to change my ways, but the things that make me late are too strong, and too pleasing. I am invariably late for appointments, sometimes as much as 2 hours. I've tried to change my ways, but the things that make me late are too strong, and too pleasing. That's the trouble, a sex symbol becomes a thing. But if I'm going to be a symbol of something, I'd rather have it sex than some other things we've got symbols of. There was my name up in lights. I said, God, somebody's made a mistake. But there it was, in lights. And I sat there and said, remember, you're not a star. Yet there it was up in lights.